All right. Um, Charles, it's great to have you on my show. It's been a really long time since we've been engaging on spaces, and X has been phenomenal in trying to get people across the world together. I joined the space when you were there once, the very first time, trying to connect with people from America because of my American experience when I used to be a student there. So great to have you on the show. Maybe you can introduce yourself for the audience.
Yeah, I'm Charles. Uh, I'm a, I don't really know what to say about myself other than I'm a father and I'm a veteran, right? I served in the wars. I served in two wars. I have three deployments into one in Iraq, two in Afghanistan. Um, I did horrible things, and I hope God forgives me for those things that I had done. And I guess that's pretty much. Uh, I don't really know much else other than that. I guess I'm an amateur anthropologist and archaeologist.
I
Like
think
I,
that's perfect. All of us are in some way or another, right? So, uh, you served in which branch of the U.S. military, Charles?
U.S. Army.
Okay,
U.S.
great.
Army.
That's
I
great.
was,
My grandfather was in the Indian Army as well, so we have something common with partner armies for sure. Like my grandfather served in 1965. If you heard about conflicts in the past with India and Pakistan, and even against China as well. So maybe I don't know whether those were or are studied by other nations as after conflict incidents, and like, what to learn and stuff from that. It's very interesting to see stuff that I learned from even American history, and all the kinds of stuff that I heard about risk taking and stuff like that. Recently I listened to an audiobook from this the McChrystal, this general. He wrote a book about risk, and how to manage it. So something about risk immune system and stuff like that, and how we can manage our responsibilities in corporate life, as well as what he learned in the military, and how we can go and apply that to our real life as well, so that whatever work we are doing, all those things are being you can say applied, so that we can see the best result for ourselves. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah. What I got from the military mostly, I would say, is the fact that I know I don't agree with violence. You know what I mean? Like violence is. And I'm not going to say it can't bring a conclusion because it can, right? Like at some point you have nothing left to do but draw your sword and go to battle. But even the most peaceful of nations have no choice but to fight at some point. Um, I feel like there's darkness that's coming, and I think the military helped me prepare for it, helped me get my mind frame in a place to where I know how to prepare, I know how to train, I know how to train others. Um, and I really do believe that conflict is, although we don't want to do it, it's inevitable at some point, right? I mean, you guys are one of the most peaceful people I know in India, right? Like, India is a peaceful place, but you guys are well armed as well and working on stealth technologies and have missiles with nuclear
So
payload.
BrahMos and stuff like that, like the recent military sales to Philippines to secure their waters against the Chinese incursions.
Somebody has to do something. You guys, I mean, you people are amazing to be where you are. You're the between Pakistan and China. I don't know. I don't know how you guys have fared this well, other than to say the same thing that Alexander the Great said. Like, maybe we'll just leave those folks alone. Or even Genghis Khan was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll not go that way. There's a lot of people there, and
yes.
even peaceful people, if you push them at some point, even England found out the hard way. It's hard to subdue that many people, especially when they're peaceful, right? Subjugation doesn't work well with people who want peace. You
That's
know,
right, Charles. And you remember, we talked about Indian independence in a space one time, previously. I mentioned that people often think that the independence of India was driven by peaceful, struggle or whatever by Gandhi. But the actual reality is that the British only decided to grant independence when the Royal Indian Navy and the Royal Indian Air Force at the time staged a mutiny against the British officers, saying you got to go and make our country free, like they said. And I saw this movie just yesterday night. Like, it's a movie on the freedom fighter Savarkar. And they showed in the movie that all the things that happened at the time. It was kind of amazing to see the so many freedom fighters that used violent and non-violent means to get their message across. And the only reason that Indian independence was shortened and we got it faster is because of the Bombay Dock mutiny that people refer. It's amazing, like what Indian civilization, which is so peaceful, but when we are forced to do all these things which we don't like doing, we have to defend our country against hostile neighbors who currently occupy our territory. So this is what we need to do. And I think this is kind of a thing which is happening to America also in different way, where maybe it's not a physical occupation, but there's other nations that are having hostile interest towards in America as well, that are trying to make America their enemy. Like, I think that's a bad idea. Like, we need to work together and have a strategic partnership so that it benefits everybody. Wouldn't you agree, Charles?
yeah. Well, I think our biggest issue right now is our borders, right? We've had such clear, open borders with Canada and Mexico. I mean, when I was a kid, I went to Mexico and Canada both. Canada when I was a child, and I don't remember it, but it was an easy process. You could just go across the border and go hang out over there and come back. It was almost as though we were all one country. And Mexico is just like a bad neighborhood in America. You know what I mean? It wasn't. There were dirty. It was dirt streets and stuff like that, and parts of town that were roped off, and there's a bunch of bars there. But we got along. We got along for the most part back when I was younger than you are now. And then people have seen that border and they want to do harm to America. So they're utilizing that border. They're coming across from, and I don't want to poke directly at Muslims, but like we have a lot of Muslims infiltrating into our country from Canada, and then from the south coming
Yeah,
from
and exactly, like, I think what you're saying makes sense. Like, this is America's map, and I can see this. Like, the northern border is somewhat not very fenced at all. Like, this is a problem in the sense that all your borders need to be fenced enough that there is a physical barrier to entry, which makes this much harder for people to take advantage of the situation. Where they started fencing the southern border, but then still there's opposition to that for some weird or reason, which I don't understand why. Like, For me, I've lived in America, so I have a certain attachment to the place where I find that people are really great people and they're nice people. They're actually uh, have a lot of ingenuity in trying to make things work for everybody. But if people are going to constantly take
Yeah.
advantage of Americans, they will try to say that, okay, you're not so welcome for us anymore. So that's like a big problem we have. So I thought I'll just present a map to show like how this is a problem in different places where America probably needs to upgrade their border security, and I think that's part of the conversation, especially with what's happening in the news right now. Can you please expand on that a little bit? Maybe some of the Indian audience or Americans maybe are not so aware about it, so maybe if you can talk about it, it'll be useful.
We've got two camps here. We've got the left and the right. Right. Our left is I don't even know how to explain it. They seem off, like they're not thinking straight, or they're enemies within. I guess you could say, like they want to change our government. They want to form a communist state out of the United States, and a lot of us are very much against that, right? My dog just left the room. But most of us don't want that, right? There's maybe 10, 15, 20% of the people here actually support that kind of thing. And we'll never change. Like it would literally have to come to a civil war for that to change. They would have to kill all of us, which would mean that the country would go down to less than 100 million people,
Yeah,
right?
that's not good. That's not
Yeah,
good for
no,
anybody.
we're reaching 300, 350 million, 360 million, I believe. And they would have to kill off 250 million people in order to pull off what they want to do, because we're not going to live like that. We're not going to go from being free and just throw away all of our rights here. We're not going to do that. First of all, we're never going to give up our guns. Like that's never going to happen. We're
And
never
I
going
don't
to.
think you should. Like, I think what people need to be aware about is what is the responsible gun ownership, like what you should do, what you shouldn't, because I think it's like any other tool. You need to make sure that your tools are not misused, and only people who are definitely responsible gun owners and have the right training can do it, because there's accidents and stuff like that. We don't want that to happen, and people should have the ability to have their weapons. I think that's what I believe in. Even though in India we don't have that here, but to a certain extent, our society is peaceful, or a little bit, you can say, different enough that maybe it's not required. But in America it's very different, where the situation is very unique. So I think that's the case, right?
It's yeah, somewhat. I think like right now we have amendments that give us, or we have. First of all, we believe that our amendments, our Constitution, is from God, right? And a lot of people think that our Constitution limits the people, but it doesn't. It limits our government. It tells them what they can and can't do. Like they're not allowed to infringe upon our rights. We have a right to speak. We have a right to protest. We have a right to tell our government, no, you can't do that. Right? Like we have that right. And we are also armed. And a clause in our Constitution is that if our government ever runs amok and becomes tyrannical, we have the right to overthrow that government and replace it back to where it's supposed to be, right? So our guns, not only do they make it impossible for someone to attack us and take us over, because I believe it was Japanese Admiral Yamamoto who said we cannot attack the American homeland because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass, right? And he was right. He's absolutely right. The United States has more weapons than all the other countries put together, right? Even the militaries. Like, we have more guns in civilian hands here than all the militaries of the world, and then another time, like twice as many guns as all the militaries of the world. It's ridiculous how many guns there are here. But
Yeah, I heard that there's like more guns in America than there are people. It's insane.
oh
Well,
yeah, for
forget the
sure,
pun.
for sure, for sure. There's people like me who have a room full of just guns and like ammunition. There's roughly, I have a 3-bedroom home, and I have what's just sitting right here, just sitting right here next to me. I have an AK-47.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, right?
right,
That's just sitting right next to me here. You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
And I wasn't expecting to even talk about guns today. This is just where I
No,
spend a
we
lot
can
of
talk
time.
about anything like that.
Yeah, this is just where I
Uh,
spend a lot of time. So I'm
it's
always
fantastic. I will tell you, like when we had like a chance
here's
to go to the
another one.
shooting
Look
range.
at that. Boom. Look at that. I got a double barrel shotgun sitting right here. You ever seen a double barrel shotgun? This one's beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
the
It looks
same thing that
fantastic.
the
I've
guys
seen one
on
of
the
these on a like a
stagecoaches.
museum. I've seen it in a museum.
Yeah, the guys on the stagecoaches used
Yeah,
to carry these nice little short shotgun. And
yeah.
then, and then also up here, I have my pistola.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 35 round magazine and a Glock. It's got I don't know if you can see it. Um, Here, I'll let the light shine on it. You can see here, there's 2 ports along the
Ah,
top right here.
okay.
So when you fire it, it shoots the explosive energy up and out of the top of the barrel so that the barrel doesn't go up, right? It forces it down so it doesn't kick that much. It like takes all the recoil out of the handgun. So I mean, just sitting in here, I've got 3 guns with me in my office. So just in case my dog starts barking in the other side of the house,
Right.
it's a pretty big house. See, and he just wanders around. But
Yeah.
he's on patrol. He's like patrolling the house. But
Yeah, so it's great that people are also getting to know about these things because like sometimes in India, like this kind of a culture is like totally foreign. Like people cannot imagine. Heck, most Indians have never ever held a gun in their hand ever because we don't have that culture. Even my own parents are not too for guns because they don't understand them properly or they are not into that kind of thing. But when I've seen the different side of things, when I read more about all the revolutionaries that we've had in America as well as in India, I realize that the only way to secure your freedom against a government that wants to oppress you is to have your own weapons. Like, I think this is something that people don't understand, right? And it's also very uniquely an American value, right? Charles, I think this is something I heard about what is the Second Amendment, and I know
God,
something about it, but maybe you can talk more about
guns.
it.
Yeah, God, guts, and guns keep America free, and
Yeah,
that's the truth, right? So
yeah.
it's we're blessed. We're blessed. The people who wrote our Constitution had to fight against the tyranny of England at the time, right? And I'm not going to poke the English. I don't like doing that because I have a lot of friends that are from England, but they at the time they were under a tyrannical government and they had to overthrow the tyrannical government. Otherwise, they would have been subjugated, and we would still probably be a British colony, right? But the like if you go back to the amendments, right? The First Amendment is freedom of speech, right? And then the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, to own firearms. Without the Second Amendment, there would be no First Amendment. right? Because people would come in and take our rights away. And
Right,
then,
right.
and now the Second Amendment just tells you that you're allowed to own it and that you can start up a militia to defend your country from tyranny or a foreign aggressor. Our Fifth Amendment, a lot of people don't know this. Our Fifth Amendment, it reads that in a time of public danger, it's okay to kill people, right? Like if somebody is dangerous, you can shoot them. If they're going to hurt people, shoot them. So not
Mhm.
only do our police, or not only are our police willing to shoot a criminal, even our citizens are allowed to do it. So, and some people would even argue that there's no reason to have police because of that amendment, but I still say no. No, we still need to have police because a police force actively seeks out criminal organizations and tries to topple them.
And they're a professional organization that can do this on a full-time basis, so ordinary citizens don't have to get involved in the day-to-days of enforcing the law. Like, I think that is a part of the situation.
That's it in a nutshell. And like I live in a state called Oklahoma. It's right in the middle of the country, right? It's right above Texas. And we're the only state.
Isn't it the one which has a panhandle?
It has a little one that
Yeah.
it looks like a hat sitting on top of
Yes,
Texas.
yes,
But
yes.
like somebody flipped a hat over upside down.
That's right.
Um but it there's some unique laws here, right? There's some very unique laws. They're not unique to the country, um, because there's other states that have some of the same laws. And this is another thing that a lot of people don't understand from overseas is that each state here has its own constitution,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like we have 51 constitutions.
that's right.
We have 50, one for each of our states, but we also have our national constitution for the
That's right.
country, right? And our country is basically 50 different countries that have all united under one flag, kind
That's
of
right.
like the EU, but way bigger, way more powerful, and way more united, right?
Yeah, and just also like the UAE, because they are the Emirates, different Emirates that have banded together to become the UAE.
Yes, yes, and that's I just wish that some of those places would outlaw slavery and stuff like that, right? Like we are one of the first countries that outlawed slavery, right? And
Yeah.
I would dare say that there's still slaves here, but people don't know about it, right? It's like
Okay.
it's those are criminals doing criminal stuff,
Yeah,
and if
like
they got
trafficking and
caught,
stuff like that. Especially, like, I've heard that the Department of Homeland Security does a lot of investigations into trying to prevent that, especially with border security and stuff like that, to prevent people from getting trafficked across different places.
well, see, I what I learned a long time ago when I was in Iraq. That was the first time I visually put my eyes on people who were slaves in Iraq, and we were there. We were in at, we were there doing our 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 war was going on after 9/11, and
What year was that, Charles?
I was there in 2006. I
Okay.
was in Ramadi, Iraq in 2006, and I literally saw men walking down the road going to the gas station right in front of the little place that we lived in. I lived at a place called OP Trotter. We used to joke around OP Trotter, no place hotter, because
Mm-hmm.
we were getting shot all the time. Like we got shot at all the time. We got mortared. That's when they put the round in a tube and it fires out and comes down on top of you. It's kind of an artillery. It's like a It's like a poor man's artillery piece.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that was the first time I ever seen another human being with other human beings chained up and dragging them down a street at gunpoint and taking them to a gas station and selling them. Like, just like, that blew my mind. I was like, what in the heck am I seeing?
Yeah, it's terrible.
And yeah, it makes you, um, it's a real eye opener on this archaic religion that the Muslims are, right? Like, they believe it still. Like, it's in the Christian Bible too, and I'm a Christian, but the Christians have spoken out against slavery completely. They're just like, it it it, it might have been in the early Christians might have just understood and accepted that there are slaves out there. But Christians today are not going to be accepting slavery at all. And
I think it's also the fact that not only is it morally and ethically wrong, but from the other aspect, it's also not profitable. It's better to actually have people work for you in a free market than actually have to think about it in that way. Like, if you can have people voluntarily come to you and work for you, then there's no point in trying to keep them chained up. That is not what it is. You know.
well, I think the problem is that these are stories. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I've heard stories that there are like sex slaves, like women that are
that
being
that is the
used
thing,
as
especially in
sex
the
slaves.
Middle East. Like I've heard, even small boys in Afghanistan, they are subject to these kind of things, and it's horrible. They call it bachabazi or something, which is like terrible. The kind of practice that they do, and the reason I know about all these things is because our neighbors in Pakistan seem to have some experience with this kind of stuff. So it's horrible. Like at least
It's Muslim.
where
It's
I've seen,
Muslim.
like in the news and stuff like that, what media is covering or independent journalists are covering, there's some people who are affiliated with these kind of organizations that publish this kind of media, and then there's people watching them. I have a friend who's a journalist, and he's a watcher of Pakistan and these kind of other nations that are almost state sponsors of terrorism, if not completely. Like you see, like in the recent Operation Sindoor, you had Pakistani generals attending the funeral of a terrorist. Like it's incredible. And then the same generals are invited in the White House afterwards for meeting with Trump. Like it's kind of really incredible. Like these kind of people are invited to the White House when they are photographed with terrorists. So maybe that policy has to change, right? So Charles, like what so as an Indian, like help me understand like why this is happening. What kind of calculation or political calculus or military calculus might go behind it. As an American, from your point of view, like
It's
what's
just
happening here?
evil. It's just evil people doing evil things. Like, one of the things that I was going to say also, one of the things that I'd heard is that there are some seriously really rich people who are Muslim, like live in palaces and stuff. And if you go to Benghazi in Libya, right there in the Mediterranean Sea, like literally right across the Mediterranean, right south of Italy, you can buy a human being for the price of a widescreen TV. three hundred
Oh my
dollars.
God.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. That's why I was like, like if you're talking about labor costs, you buy a human being for $300, and all you gotta do is feed this person, and they can live in a doghouse in your backyard. You know what I mean? Because we're actually kind of adaptable as humans. Like, as long as you give us food and shelter over our head, maybe some blankets and stuff, we can probably survive just about anything as long as we have food, water, and shelter, and we can stay warm when it gets cold. We'll survive just about anything. So, what I heard was that some of these people living in these palaces with lots and lots of money are actually buying people on a slave market just so that they can feed them to their pet lions. Like,
Oh,
yes, modern day, like you wouldn't believe it. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? And then one of my sergeants was like, yeah, man, yeah, they'll buy a person and then take them and go feed one of their lions. And I'm like,
that's horrible.
like, what? This is like what we hear about happening to the Christians during Rome. You
Yeah,
know, we're like, these people have not become more civilized since Rome, since the
wow.
days of Rome. They're still locked into that same mindset. Like, who can I abuse today? You know, walk down the street and push someone down in a pile of shit and not even worry about it. Excuse my language. Like, they're just rude, nasty people. And the majority of them live in squalor. And it's so hard for me to understand how someone can live in a dirt house shack with dirt floors and then turn around and be respectful to a guy who spits at them while he lives in a palace and they're literally in the same town together. Like, why aren't they going over to that palace and telling this guy, you're stealing all our money?
I think it's a bit like Stockholm syndrome, like uh,
It's the
the
religion. It's
uh,
their religion.
even beyond that, it's also the fact that like mentally, like when people are captive by somebody, and then they somehow try to rationalize the why that other person still loves them or whatever, like, which is like the psychology of kidnappers and people who get attracted to them. Like, it's a whole
I know
thing.
it's Stockholm syndrome is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying for the audience, maybe if they're not aware. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I
um,
don't even mean like slaves. I'm talking about like just poor, like people, like an entire city or town of completely destitute and impoverished people,
mhm.
and then having a palace sitting in the middle, and they all serve and work for this dude, and he's like, "I'm the king" or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, there's an old proverb. I don't remember. I think it was a Chinese proverb, unfortunately, but a Chinese proverb that says a tyrant will burn down his entire civilization so that he can rule over the ashes, right?
Yeah,
And
something like
that's
that.
the way I look at the whole Muslim culture, right? They're all fighting to get ahead of everybody else. You
It,
know,
it's it's different, especially compared to what values are based in America. Like the things that I see happening in the UK and other places where I see like values that were considered like liberty and other things. Like then for the sake of political correctness, they are going ahead and taking away people's rights systematically for social media posts and likes and stuff like that. Like it's insane. Like just because somebody liked a particular post, the police shows up at their door. Like it's horrible. Like and the worst thing is that these Western nations have the audacity to go on record and put reports every year, say that, oh, India's religious freedom or political religious freedom is going down. But when the stats show that actually no, but in the UK or other places, the situation is very much that even for social media likes or posts, they are being arrested, or they are like Tommy Robinson was arrested recently, maybe a few months back. He was arrested for his social media activity for his speech. And if you look at India as a nation with so many billions of people, I think it's less than 100 people who are arrested for any kind of violent speech or whatever speech that they made in India. Like, what's the kind of comparison? They keep saying that India or America, they're worse, but then, they somehow say that, our countries are somehow bad. I don't just get the logic.
The governor of California right now, like they're literally, I think they already passed it today, to where they can put you in jail for social media posts. Um, I don't know how it's come to this,
I,
but
th-
this
I
guy
think there will be a
needs
lawsuit
to move.
coming up very soon. So, as soon as somebody gets arrested for that, there's going to be challenged in the courts. I think it will happen.
This guy needs to be removed. He's absolutely a tyrant, and I'm 100% sure the only reason he even has his job is because they have rigged the elections in these blue cities, these big blue cities like Los Angeles, right? Like they've rigged it so bad to the point now to where, like, if you look at America, it's all the really poverty stricken large cities with masses of people that have blue tendencies, right? Not here in the state that I'm in. I'm blessed to live in Oklahoma, and everything here is red. It's all very conservative. Uh, where California is mostly red, but then you look at these large cities where the most of the populations are living, and they're blue. So those little blue specks where the cities are controlling the whole state, right? And I think they're rigging the elections. They have to be, because no one in their right mind is going to vote for this guy that
Right.
literally is telling them you can't say that on internet, otherwise we're going to arrest you.
You'd be surprised, like, what people could have deluded themselves into voting for. Like, it's insane. So in your region of North America and the Pacific, right? So there are so many challenges coming up because of geopolitical reasons. So, like, from a military standpoint, what are the security challenges that you see in North America and Asia? If you have some idea about it, we can talk about it.
um I think we need to butt out of everyone else's business. I know we kind of like to keep our thumb on the pulse all around the world. Probably a good thing in some ways, but I think we need to worry about what's happening in our own backyard. Like America needs to let other countries do what they're going to do and stop trying to intervene so much with what other countries are doing. But I do also understand that our Navy, if it wasn't for our Navy, our massive, massive Navy, um, when, like, do you remember when that tidal wave, that tsunami went across the Indian Ocean?
Yeah, it affected the Andaman Islands and everything else at the time. Like, I think we were still emerging as a naval power that time, because a lot of our stuff was being built out. Now it's a whole different story. We're running anti-piracy operations throughout the Indian Ocean. Maybe at the time it was not as extensive, but things have changed. So I remember what you're talking about.
Well, what I was going to say was, because of our massive Navy, when things go wrong somewhere, when Japan has an earthquake and it kills a bunch of people, we're able to position our Navy is positioned in places all around the world so that we can get help to people when they need it, or if under any circumstance somebody really needs humanitarian aid, we can get we can get to it in a matter of a day, right? Like when that tsunami went across the Indian Ocean and it hit all that, it hit everything in the Indian Ocean, right? It even reached as far as Africa. But those islands that were completely washed up, um, I want to say Indonesia, parts of Indonesia. Uh,
We had the tsunami problem all the way until the eastern seaboard of India as well, where the Andaman Islands also took a majority of the brunt of the tsunami at the time, and then it went from all the way from Indonesia all the way towards the Indian mainland, and then they stopped at the mainland. But there was a huge flood even at the mainland, where many places were destroyed with flood damage and so many other things.
yeah, we're able to get needed supplies to anywhere in the world because of our navy. I honestly think if America didn't exist, I think liberty in this world and the light of hope would probably be extinguished already. I really do
Yeah,
believe that.
and I think we can share the responsibility more in the future. Like it doesn't just have to be America. Everybody can try to do that, so that it doesn't just have to be one nation doing it like it was in the past. Now the Indians are also becoming one of the poles in the multipolar order, where we are having our own strategic interests, but we are also helping ensure global security in the Indian Ocean and the South Asian continent, where in our area of influence, we are making sure that things are stable and there is no disruption to the kind of trade that's going on. So uh, I think that on the Google Maps, there's one interesting thing that I can show. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, so this is the uh, you know screen, and I can share. So if you look at this, right? Uh, the Strait of Malacca is somewhere here, and all the trade that comes from China today goes somewhere like this of Singapore and goes to the Strait of Malacca. And guess what? At the mouth of the Strait of Malacca is the Andaman Nicobar Islands, where we have our naval presence. The Indian Navy has its base here, right here, on the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and we are building a huge project here for security. It's called Great Nicobar Project. We are doing that to ensure the all the shipping lanes and areas around these parts are secure and there is no disruption to global trade. Now, if you see on the left hand side, there is a situation where uh, all of this goes through the Indian Ocean, right below India, right here, and then it goes,
Yeah,
you can say,
up in
into
the
Europe.
Gulf and then in through the
Yeah, through the Suez Canal and stuff like that, like here, Gulf of Aden, Suez
that's
Canal.
where a lot of the problems are right there around the Horn of
Yes,
Africa.
yes.
Right.
So many ships are actually trying to go across the Cape of Good Hope, and it's a much more expensive route, and it's kind of disrupting a lot of supply chains, and it's a problem. So with all of the trouble that's the Houthis are going and stirring up in Yemen, I believe it's a situation where getting the security is very critical, and we are going to be the primary provider of security in this region, because let's face it, the only largest navy in this area is India. No other country has a larger naval presence that is close to home port and like naval docks than us. So
Yes,
we
sir.
are we are going to be a strategic partner in this area and a guarantor of security. And it doesn't just have to be one particular country doing it. We can share responsibilities. Therefore, every country can focus on improving itself. Like India has its problems, and I'm sure that America also has its problems. And we will be in the position to help our countries grow together in a strategic way. We will have whatever kind of hiccups that happen from time to time, but it will not be a permanent thing. Just like what's happened recently. with all of the H1B drama that happened on X. Like I'm sure you've seen that. You know, that it's like people are venting their anger on not having jobs or whatever, and you know, it's an ongoing thing. You know, people. Uh, Construe that it's only for Indians or stuff like that, but no, it's like there's doctors who are from other countries who are on H1B visa serving rural communities and stuff like that, where this is a problem that I don't think people have fully thought out the consequences of, saying and doing what they're trying to do. With especially like I will say, as somebody who's Indian, I've seen like hate from like the ultra mega people, trying to say that, oh, suddenly because we are Indian, we are not good enough to be in America or whatever. But I think that's nonsense, and which is like horrible. Like, but and I'm saying this because people in India are very emotional people. Like we don't see the rationale or the calculation behind whatever this is. Many times these are bots who are saying it. This is not even real people who are saying it. You know, this is also the thing that people don't realize this is the situation. There is
Yeah.
bots which have like blue tick marks, and these are accounts that operate as if they were actual people, but they are not actual people. They're just verified accounts, so quote unquote, but not actually real people. You know.
Well, here in our country, the people who don't want folks here, we don't mind people being here. We're a nation of everybody coming together. All people, America is built from all people from all around the world. The head of our FBI is Indian. How much more do you got? And the MAGA people love this guy, right? So it's not that we don't like Indian people. We love Indian people. What we want is accountability over who comes into our country. We
That's
don't
right.
want people to just cross the border willy nilly and not have a documentation saying, "Hey, look, I'm here." Because
That's
that
right.
the only reason why anyone would ever want to come into your country undocumented with no accountability is if they're a criminal. Now,
Yes,
if
sounds about
you
right.
fly into one of our airports with the freaking passport, nobody has a problem with that. If you
Yeah.
want to move here and become a citizen, there is a clear path towards citizenship, and I promote anybody to come to America. It's the greatest place in the world, and we need the best people. Like I think Trump said it best. We don't want the garbage that they're sending us out of their prisons. Like Venezuela literally took all the people out of their prisons and out of their mental health institutions and put them in, forced them to cross our border with no documentation at all.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So we have a bunch of criminals and a bunch of crazy people, violent criminals coming into our country from across the border. And of course we don't want that. Like that's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy. What but we don't I have so many friends named Patel.
Yeah, and
Like,
I,
are
I
you
I totally
kidding
get
me?
it. Is that like the sentiment on social media versus what's in real life is so different? And because I've lived there, like I know, like that's not the case. Like I lived in Iowa of all places. Like that's a very red state. If you can imagine that. Like they may be a little bit moderate, or sometimes they may vote Democrat, but they're
Farmers.
very much conservative type of people.
They're farmers,
And
just like here in Oklahoma. It's
yeah,
farmers.
yeah,
Farmers,
exactly.
ranchers, people who work for a living. The only people who are bitching about people here, they're not bitching that they don't have a job. There's plenty of work. The people who you hear bitching right now, politically bitching, are the ones who no longer are going to be getting a free ride, right? Like they're not getting free money just for existing. Like you
Right.
owe me money every month. Why?
That's ridiculous.
Nothing on earth is for free. You work for what you get, right?
Yes.
That's how the world works. That's how this world works. And all these people who've been getting free rides for so long are they're it's all gone. Like we had Elon Musk, who's one of our favorite South African citizens. You know, he came from South Africa, moved to America, become a citizen, and has literally turned the whole country over. I mean, he's allowed us to have free speech still online. That was all shut down for a while. When COVID came out, when that whole COVID pandemic that they were doing, that fake,
Whatever happened.
right, they were shutting down anything anybody said. You had free speech was gone. It
Did
was
you
gone.
hear just a couple of days ago in a congressional oversight hearing, the YouTube executives said that whatever happened during the Biden administration was wrong, and they admitted that on record, saying that they are offering a way to, whoever was banned for their speech to come back to YouTube and stuff like that. Like, so, after the fact, these companies are admitting that what happened was the case, but there we are. At least we live and learn. At least that's what we can say. We live and learn. But yeah, pretty much that's the story.
It's crazy. I can't believe what we went through while Biden was in. And first of all, he didn't get elected. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that right now. There's no way that guy was elected. Someone cheated. They cheated in our elections. And as long as there's not proper elections that are accountable, that don't mind being questioned and can be proven that each vote was legit, then we're going to be okay. But if we
Yeah.
ever have an election where we know for a fact that it was rigged and not real, I see a very bloody future
I,
for.
I think I think it's a difficult time for America in general. Like with if people start losing trust in elections, then it's not a good thing for any country. Like this is the kind of narrative that the opposition in India is trying to stay. Oh, they're stealing the votes and stuff like that. But that's not the story. Like the election commission in India came and explicitly said, if you have allegations, specific allegations, come to court. We are going to entertain you. But they just keep having the political rhetoric but not doing any actual action, which is like the insane part. But
I mean, I
this
know so many people, right? I'm 53, and I know so many people. I know thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and I only know of maybe a handful of people out of all of my years on this planet. I only know a handful of people who actually voted for Joe Biden. Everyone else was like, yeah, Trump, 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 right? We all wanted him. Everybody wanted him. And then you look at the people who vote for him, and they're always like messed up. Like,
it's
uh,
let's just say that they are different for the sake of
I
our
used to
discussion.
be a Democrat. See,
Yeah,
I'm a very unique type of person. I'm all on board with MAGA, right? Donald
yeah.
Trump, I love the guy. I think he's doing great stuff. But I used to be on the left. I used to be a Democrat. That the Democrat Party at some time in our past, I'm not sure exactly when. I want to say Clinton. I voted for Clinton. I voted for Clinton. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was cool. He was getting a blowjob
Not
under.
Hillary. Let's make that clear.
Oh,
Not
oh,
Hillary.
oh. What?
No, no, I'm just saying for the audience, not Hillary, the other Clinton.
Oh yeah, yeah. Bill Clinton. I voted for Bill Clinton, and I'm pretty sure that was about the same time that the Democrat Party was taken over by communists or socialists. They want to call themselves democratic socialists, but we all know that that's actually communist,
I
right?
mean, this is like a institutional capture of America and India's, academia, where people are being taught nonsense, especially in the humanities department. Like there's this, you know, professor in Rutgers. I won't name that person, but she keeps writing about Hindu phobia, and well, not only Hindu phobia, but just like as if that some section of society is oppressing others, and when there is no truth in that. And they keep self-citing themselves and creating a narrative which is not even true, that like this kind of makes it bad for people, where they're teaching all the wrong stuff, like not just from from an Indian perspective or from an American perspective. They pollute academia in different ways, like because we want places of learning. Like I went to college in America, so I feel like all the STEM programs which are there, they taught me so many things, and I learned a lot from my professors. I even worked on them on projects. Heck, I've even taught high schoolers about cybersecurity when they were on their vacation. So how cybersecurity works and how to secure their Android phones and stuff like that. Like it was like a National Science Foundation sponsored program. So I was able to teach high schoolers about digital hygiene and privacy and stuff like that, because it's good that people are learning this from like an early age, because people are online earlier than ever before. So they shouldn't be taken advantage of. And I did my bit at the time when I could. Working on campus was like a part of our education, and we were allowed to do that. So it was very useful, not only for me, where I got to experience the teaching aspect of high schoolers and stuff like that, but I also got to help Americans to be better at digital privacy and stuff like that.
It's locked up.
Yeah, a lot of things happening which shouldn't have happened. In fact, the US embassy in India also posted a news of how the Indian CBI, or Central Bureau of Investigation, recently they 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 basically arrested a lot of scammers in India who are trying to target US citizens. And that's something that shouldn't be allowed anywhere in the world. And we are this is the kind of cooperation we want to work with, and I hope this will be a thing in the future as well. But yeah, Charles, I think if you have any closing remarks, we can conclude on the top of the hour, and maybe we'll have this later in the week once again, so I don't take too much of your time.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just stay up a little later. Like I should be in bed. It's almost 2 a.m. here, but I don't mind. I don't mind. I'll stay up a little later to have discussions with you. But as a closing remark, I would say I think that there should be a better friendship and partnership between our two countries. I wish there was. I wish it was stronger. I don't think there's problems between the two of us, but out of all the countries in this world, if I had to go to one to live because America no longer existed, or let's just say I had to leave because I was a political refugee or whatever, I think India would probably be the place, right?
Yeah, we've even provided political asylum to the Dalai Lama and stuff like that. Like
My
so this is.
my meaning for my reasoning for that is because I consider myself a huge student of history, and I believe that the history in India, it goes so far back that I could literally stay there for however long God lets me have left on this earth, and I could literally study and study all about the history of India and just learn so much about the ancient world, because there's so much here in your, or not here but there in your country. um, you've got, oh man, it's just an amazing place, and I've
Yeah,
always
why don't we do that discussion in the next session? Maybe that will be you know uh, like a topic for longer discussion time. I think that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
great.
yeah, I just was giving you a closing remark. One of the
Oh
reasons
yeah, for sure.
why I would, if I was going to leave here and I had no other if I had to pick a place to go, it would probably be either India or the Philippines. I'm amazing. The Philippines have such an amazing culture there as well, and it's mostly Christian, if I'm not mistaken. So I think I would get along really good there. But yeah, man.
Right.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for and uh, you can stop recording whenever. It'll be a clean hour right there. Bam. And
Yeah.
I